It is no secret that Halo Infinite's been off to a rough start as a result of a general lack of content, infrequent content updates, content delays, awful challenge-based progression, overly greedy monetization, restrictive armor coding when it comes to cosmetic customization, desync issues for multiplayer, poor communication, disappointing roadmaps that are too few and far between, and more. Now, Season 2 did recently launch for the game, with details being provided roughly 15 days ago via this roadmap that revealed that the event will start on May 3rd and end on November 7th. Immediately, people were concerned because we are talking about a 6-month-long Season 2. A season's usually supposed to be 3 to 4 months long. Halo Infinite is drawing out their Season 2 by 6 months, and it was explained by the developers that this has in part to do with them wanting to prioritize the health of the developers, which I think is admirable, but it doesn't change the fact that Halo Infinite feels like it launched underbaked. Even with that year-long delay, they didn't have enough prepared, and so Season 2 is being drawn out so that they can have a more substantial Season 3, or that's the hope at least, which is set to start on November 8th. As for what Season 2 has to offer, it's introducing 2 new maps, as well as new modes, some of which are old modes, but then you also got Last Spartan Standing, which is a little mini Battle Royale mode. On top of that, you've got new cosmetics, new battle paths, and all of these things. Now, May 3rd was 4 days ago. That's exactly when Season 2 Lone Wolves launched, and you can see on Steam charts that the player base has increased since the release of this new season, with the 24-hour peak as of the recording of this video being at 13,775, almost 14,000, which is certainly more than your average, but at the same time, it's certainly a far cry from the all-time peak of 256,619. Halo Infinite did lose quite a bit of momentum because of its rough and underbaked launch, and it's not helping matters that Season 2 of Halo Infinite is also proving to have a bumpy start, as one developer put it. So here are some of the bullet points that Kotaku highlighted, detailing 4 key areas that's seeing a lot of criticism from Season 2. Challenges related to Last Spartan Standing weren't tracking properly, even though the game says you can leave matches preemptively without risking progress toward active challenges. Some players reported their accounts failing to reflect any progression. Then you got traversal techniques popular among high-level players being removed from the game, though this was telegraphed in the patch notes. The severity of the cuts was unexpected. It feels like a very Nintendo move, like how they removed wave dashing from Super Smash Bros., despite the fact that players loved the discovery of this move that, yes, was unintended, but added an extra layer to professional Smash Brothers. And then on top of that, Halo Infinite Season 2 pissed off speedrunners because the update removed several speedrunning exploits, including the option to pilot a Pelican dropship or to equip an unlimited ammo tank. And then finally, following the patch, some guns now jam up without warning. They just stop shooting for some reason, and this was confirmed to be unintentional, so hopefully a fix will come sooner rather than later. But basically, the way Kotaku puts it is that for every line of praise about the new maps and modes, there were 3 more criticizing the overall changes. The content additions provided by Season 2 are much needed, don't get me wrong, but yeah, there are certain changes and fixes that are questionable, and then certain issues with the patch that's impeding progression. Just not a good look for a game that's already had a rough launch with not many positive sentiments currently surrounding it because of how mishandled it's been. A deeper description of Season 2's issues can be found in this Kotaku article titled Halo Infinite Just Cannot Catch a Break, detailing how challenges are busted, a dysfunctional battle pass, a bunch of ultimately ineffectual fixes, a cacophonous uproar of player feedback, much of which isn't positive. It may sound like the launch window era of Halo Infinite, but no, this is Halo Infinite today, 6 months after its launch during the first week of its second season. Scrolling further down, the second season of Halo Infinite, called Lone Wolves, adds a bunch of new features, 3 new modes, a reimagining of fan-favorite King of the Hill, the return of fan-favorite Attrition, and the introduction of Last Spartan Standing, a mini battle royale. And then they did introduce some inspired cosmetic options, and new lobby music apparently is receiving a lot of compliments. So there are things to like about Season 2, but there's also a lot not to like. Here's what Terrace, a Halo-focused content creator, said to Kotaku. It's hard not to feel like this update contains surprise fixes that felt deliberately targeted at the speedrunning and competitive community with no room for discussion or compromise. Maybe the developers had the best of intentions, but it doesn't change the fact that they made some substantial adjustments to things that people enjoyed about the game, and that was a result of them just not properly communicating, and communication has been a problem in the current lifespan of Halo Infinite. But yeah, here we have additional details about challenges for the Last Spartan standing mode not working properly. Basically, the way this mode works is you have 5 lives, and once you're stripped of those lives, your tenure in the match ends. You can either stick around and watch how other players perform, or you can exit out and find a new match, and a pop-up appears when you try to exit a match after you've been killed permanently that you can leave the match without penalty to your challenges, but this has proven to be unreliable. A number of players have reported losing all of the progression that was promised to still be made even after exiting the match while it was still going on. And for a game that's already faced plenty of backlash because of how progression is tied to challenges and how certain challenges were poorly thought out, more issues with challenges is the last thing that Season 2 needed. Kotaku further details that for some, progress towards your challenges simply doesn't seem to register. For others, you can successfully complete challenges and still not seem to register any progression for the 2 active battle passes. Now, Kotaku does point out that 343 has been quick to respond and have been trying to put out hotfixes to resolve this problem. That same evening, 343 Industries released a hotfix for busted challenges, but some players say that they still are having problems. Last night, 343 Industries released a second hotfix. Time will tell whether this second one did the trick. But as long as the issue goes unresolved, once you're permanently killed in a Last Spartan standing match, you have one of 2 options: either risk losing progression by exiting out, or you have to wait for the rest of the match to play out so that you're guaranteed to earn the progression that the game promises you'll earn. Last but not least, we have details about this issue where guns jam up. Austin Mickwen, a pro Halo player, cited the bug as a top reason he's avoiding the game for the moment. Tyler Spartan Gonza of Pro Team E United pointed to battle rifle jams as a reason. He's glad that he takes breaks from Halo Infinite after big events, and he criticized the update, calling it a fat frickin' L and frickin' pathetic. Looking at social media posts, you'll find plenty of people complaining about the way challenges and progression isn't working properly with Last Spartan Standing. Welp RIP, if you leave after dying Last Spartan Standing matches, it doesn't give you the event challenges, so don't leave your matches. Didn't give it to me after 10 minutes, another game played, and restart of game. And then in an additional post, the same Twitter user said, it gave me my daily XP after I played another game, but didn't give me my complete Last Spartan Standing matches challenge, which again is the main form of progression for this game. Other users reporting something similar: my weekly challenges aren't updating, specifically the complete FFA matches. Completed one, won the second, didn't update for either. Some people poking fun by posting memes like, you will not lose challenge progress if you leave the game, Halo Infinite Last Spartan Standing. You'll find similar posts on Reddit, challenge progress will not be lost, so that was a freaking lie, and you can see right here the pop-up notification that says challenge progress will not be lost, except plenty of people have reported that progress has in fact been lost. Next up, here we have a series of tweets from pro player Tyler Gonza, who tweeted, I guess it's a good thing I always take a small break after events. Reading everyone's tweets about movement being nerfed and their BRs not shooting sounds like I'm saving myself a headache right now, sheesh. And then he actually played Season 2 for himself and reported that my gun keeps frickin' jamming, the movement is wonky, I can't turn speed lines off. Who the F approved this update? And then he very angrily expressed that he's not playing this garbage until there's some sort of fix. This is borderline unplayable. Frickin' pathetic, he said. And then just minutes later, he tweeted an additional criticism. My lord, I love the game, but this has to be the worst update yet. Removing things nobody asked to be removed, adding things nobody asked to be in. This is just perplexing at this point. I truly cannot defend 343 on this one. It is just a fat L. Speaking of things that were removed that people didn't ask to be removed, here is Mint Blitz, who is an Australian Halo YouTuber who detailed some of the things that were removed: remove shock rifle on BTB map, remove fusion coil launching, nerfed jump gliding, removed the tank gun, can't search rumble pit with friends, no sniper or shock rifle loadout in last Spartan standing. And he also criticized changes that impede campaign speedrunners. Patching campaign fun stuff is a big mistake. Apparently some of these changes, removals, and fixes are so baffling that a former 343 developer went out of his way to criticize this with a tweet that reads, "Someone literally had to go out of their way and spend valuable time to remove features that are important to major subcommunities of their game, not only invalidating the time commitment of those who already invested learning and teaching, but deterring them from continuing." Indeed, why would speedrunners keep speedrunning the game if there is a likelihood that the next update will render all of their efforts moot? Don't get me wrong, if something's utterly game-breaking, then sure, that needs to be fixed, but there's plenty of other stuff that is so obscure in their discovery and that are so specific in their purpose that there's no need to take that stuff out, especially when they're enjoyed by players and particularly speedrunners. But Season 2 of Halo Infinite did remove that stuff, and so you're seeing posts like this with almost 12,000 upvotes. They patched it. You can no longer drive the Pelican in the campaign for whatever reason. Driving vehicles like the Pelican or the Phantom was my childhood dream since Halo Combat evolved, and except Reach and Halo 4, you'll never pilot it. 343, I'm not even mad, just why? Here's another post from someone who feels like 343 is just killing the speedrunning community in a single patch with all of the various changes and things that they removed that essentially forces speedrunners to have to reevaluate how they speedrun the game. Another Reddit user provided an even broader overview of things that were removed that people are not pleased about. "Can't wait to see what this live service gives us next," says this post with almost 8,000 upvotes. "Real actual decisions so far. No reticle on PC, stop asking. Nerf all melee because one weapon is too effective, but not the BR in ranked. Duh, that's special. No cheese allowed in campaign. No trick jumps allowed in multiplayer either. Just stuff that's pissing off the most dedicated and loyal and hardcore of Halo Infinite players." Here's one more list from Optic Lucid, who went into even more specific details, noting how Streets Pizza Jump was removed, Live Fire Key Door Jump was removed, Live Fire Screen Jump, Bazaar Red Big Door Jump, Bazaar Blue Big Door Jump, Ramp Drop Slides. These were removed and or nerfed, and they essentially diminish the strategic elements that are involved in the competitive scene of this game. On Reddit, you'll also find plenty of complaints surrounding how challenges work in this game, like this user insisting that changing the challenges or revamping the system isn't enough. Challenge-based progression is negatively impacting the entire game and needs to go in its entirety. Bring back merit-based progression is pretty much one of the most requested overhauls from the community. Another Reddit user echoed similar sentiments. Halo Infinite's challenge system is irreparably detrimental to its multiplayer experience. It needs to go completely. And if challenges can't or won't be removed, at the very least, people are asking that all challenges be made generic. Simple things like get kills, get assists, get medals, complete any match, win any match, complete any objective as a team or as an individual, instead of things like end an enemy's kill streak, which relies on the enemy's performance instead of your own for you to make progression. And then we have cynical crap like this, how this user was hindered in their Season 1 Battle Pass progression because they didn't pay for Season 2's Battle Pass. This was understandably labeled as a joke, and this post has almost 11,000 upvotes. And what they mean by this is, if you zoom in on the screenshot and look at the bottom here, it reads, "Upgrade Season 2 Battle Pass to Premium to unlock an extra challenge slot for this season. The more challenge slots you have, the more variety of challenges you can partake in, which will help accelerate progression, but that's impeded for those who don't upgrade Season 2 Battle Pass to Premium." And then there's stuff that was promised to be added to the game to make multiplayer more fun, but 343 eventually reneged on. So this is a post that reads, 343 U-turn on fixing the explosion physics, and zooming in on this screenshot, you'll find a message here talking about how initially they had a desire for increased knockback and physics impulses, and they, the development team, agreed that this was a priority, but then you look at a post from 343 from April 2nd, and suddenly, regarding the desire for increased physics impulses, that's something that's a sensitive area between capturing the fun and legacy physics players expect in a Halo game and balancing around a competitive shooter in a way that feels exciting but maintains consistency, except plenty of people are pointing out that in previous Halo games, all of that goofy stuff was there and they had very strong competitive scenes, so people are just not buying the excuse of wanting to maintain a consistent and balanced competitive experience, especially when it's a fix that ultimately makes the game less fun. Other highly requested features that Halo Infinite still hasn't added yet are outlined by this Reddit user who posted, what Halo Infinite multiplayer needs ASAP is a lobby and map voting system. We would actually be able to create friendships and clans like the old days while being able to pick the maps we actually want to play on. On this front, Infinite just feels like a regression from how past entries handled stuff like this. And to close off on the community feedback and responses to Season 2, here we have Eckhart Ladder, a YouTuber, who just kind of very bluntly said, the worst part about Halo Infinite Season 2 is that it's shown how little people care. There's no hype. Player population is essentially where it was. It's made no impact outside of normal players. I really don't think the game can come back from this, especially with another 6-month season. This game never should have released last year. 2 6-month seasons with little real content when the game was launching content light is literally not compatible with success. It's so far outside the industry norms for 2022. People tried it and moved on. It's not 2007. Indeed, if they wanted Halo Infinite to majorly succeed as a live service, the foundation had to be very solid, and they needed to have the content roadmap for the game prepared well in advance so that they are not constantly playing catch-up, but instead we're finding ourselves in a situation where developers are playing catch-up and players are running out of patience. We then have Eckhart's bring up Steam charts and noting how Season 2 ultimately didn't make a huge impact when it comes to bolstering Halo Infinite's diminishing player base. Like F, this blip is the Season 2 for your ultimate free-to-play live service Halo game. If I were in any way associated with this game, I'd be furious. Years of work, great design, and hundreds of millions of dollars, and the game will never live up to a fraction of its potential. Prove me wrong, though. I want to eat my words. I have 10 plus Halo tournaments I want to run. To close things off, let's talk about how developers have responded to all of this. The Halo support Twitter page has issued a number of posts where they assure that they are working on hot fixes for some of the issues. So, for example, here we have a post from May 3rd that reads, the Halo Infinite team has deployed a backend update that allows Rumble Pit and Last Spartan standing matches to progress free-for-all challenges. Halo support had to eventually release another post that reads, a new backend update for Halo Infinite has improved challenge tracking after leaving Last Spartan standing matches early. Challenge progress should now be more consistently tracked once the match has concluded. And then just yesterday, Halo support tweeted that challenge progress is always being tracked after leaving Last Spartan standing matches early, but this may not always be visible post-match. Complete a full match in any playlist to see updated challenge progress, or restart Halo Infinite to refresh the event passes tiers. Basically saying that if it doesn't seem like progression was tracked after leaving a Last Spartan standing match early, then the game likely tracked it behind the scenes. It just might take a bit for it to show, or it might involve restarting the game. Still not ideal for those who have to do this, but I believe there's still reports out there of people who have tried Halo support's solutions when progression isn't showing and still haven't managed to get the game to properly track progression. Now, community managers and developers at 343 Industries have directly acknowledged the issues surrounding Season 2. John Junicek, who is the senior community manager at 343 Industries, tweeted this string of tweets 2 days ago, back in May 5th. He said, let's talk Halo Infinite Season 2. For the interference event, Last Spartan standing challenges should now be tracking more accurately and helping you earn rewards. There may be a delay if you leave early, but all progress should count once the match finishes in the background. To help make things right, we'll be granting 5 XP boosts and 5 challenge swaps to anyone who logs in while interference is live. Next week, we'll also be reducing the difficulty of some event challenges and making it so that completing them earns you 2 levels on the event pass. We have seen the feedback around changes that impacted various multiplayer jumps and campaign speedrun strategies. Basically, we've heard the feedback about us removing stuff that you didn't want to see removed. We're not at the point where we can promise anything yet, but want to be transparent and say that we're taking the feedback seriously and reviewing options internally. Given how complex games can be, I imagine that even undoing certain fixes can have sort of ripple effects on the rest of the game, so it's probably not as simple as just like rolling something back. That's just a guess, though. I'm not a game developer, but regardless, at the very least, they're acknowledging this feedback and are saying that they're taking it seriously, which is better than nothing. And then last but not least, he thanked the community for providing their feedback to Halo support and asked to keep their constructive feedback coming to make the game better. Somebody else who spoke out was head of creative for Halo Infinite, Joseph Staten, who retweeted John Junicek and added, "Hey Spartans, this week has been bumpy," the developer admits. "That definitely wasn't our goal. We are indeed taking your feedback to heart, especially regarding map jumps and speedrunning. We're reviewing options and we'll have more news to come." So it does seem quite likely that they're going to add all that stuff back, but they did make their own lives more difficult by removing this stuff in the first place and not having that back and forth with the community. Joseph Stain then added, "Note, some of you may wonder, does he even read the replies? Yes, I do. I'm reading every single one of them on this thread, so please keep the constructive feedback coming." One last thing that John Junicek addressed was the issue surrounding guns jamming or suddenly not firing mid-gameplay. Here's what he had to say on that. FYI, the jamming that's happening to semi-automatic weapons, most notably the BR, is not an intended mechanic. It's a bug that was introduced when addressing a rapid-fire exploit. We're working on a fix now. So all in all, it's good that developers are responding quickly to the backlash surrounding Season 2, but the fact that we're in a scenario where Halo Infinite is suffering yet another wave of backlash, given its rocky lifespan, given the bumpy journey that it's had, it's just not a good thing. It doesn't bode well for the future of what was supposed to be this long-spanning, epic live service. And we're talking about Halo, the flagship of Xbox, and to see such a flagship series be treading such rocky roads, it's a shame to see. And we can only keep our fingers crossed that eventually everything will come together and this game can be in a place where it can start making some kind of comeback, both from an optics perspective and as a live service when it comes to its player base and just the general Halo scene, which is going to keep dying out if updates keep rolling out so slowly and if the game keeps stumbling. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the latest developments surrounding Halo Infinite and what you think prospects look like for this troubled live service. Do you think there's a chance for it to come back, or do you think at this stage it's too little too late? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.